What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to NFL Turf Talk here on DSM Media's YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook channels. If you guys are new to the channel, head on over to @DSM_media. Hit that follow button. We greatly appreciate it. On this Thursday night edition, Scotty and I will be giving you guys our updated top 5 NFL power rankings heading into the week, previewing this Broncos Colts Thursday night football matchup, and also diving into some early and the MVP consideration conversation. That and much, much more when we are back in 30 seconds.
One-on-one. Clement flares out to the right. Caught over the middle and into. He's at the 45. Are you kidding? Oh, he's going to go. Oh, Redding is hit. The ball is out. And Philadelphia has it.
Happy Thursday, everyone. As I said before, this NFL Turf Talk here on DSM Media's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter channel. If you're new to the channel, like I said, head on over, hit that follow button, check out the link tree in our bio to take you to every social media platform we are available on. Head on over to the YouTube channel specifically. Help us grow, help us reach our goal of 700 subscribers. We are so close, and we are grateful to each and every one of you that comment and view and subscribe to the channel. But first, Scotty, before we get into the show tonight, a word from our sponsors. DSM Media is proudly brought to you by Gents Barber Lounge. Check out one of 2 great locations in Fishtown and Old City and book your appointment today. Gents owns the craft, and it shows. Rated the #1 barbershop on Yelp in the Philadelphia area, having multiple award-winning barbers and being able to handle any style of cut, adult or kid. Here is a look at some of Gents' great work. Check them out at www.gentsbarberlounge.com. Book your appointment today. I am one half of your host here, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. Check him out on Twitter at ScottyDrown. What's going on, my man?
Not much, man. You know, just getting ready for the NFL Week 5. We're going to get into some good stuff. Obviously, we talked about it on Tuesday, just how inconsistent this season has been. We got NBA coming back, so this is getting fun. The Sixers play. It's actually Wednesday. We're
pre-recording this one. Yep.
Sixers about to take on the Cavs, so that's a little exciting. Apparently, James Harden and Embiid and PJ are going to play.
Yep.
So that's cool. But yeah, I'm ready to get into Thursday night football. We'll talk a little bit about that, power rankings, and then MVP talk. And I'm interested to see how that goes, kind of where your head's at. But yeah, man, nice day to talk football. I'm happy to be here.
It is, man. And if you see us herring through this show, guys, that's because the Sixers tip off in about 30 minutes. And Scotty and I are extremely anxious to get to see the Beast on the floor again.
Yes,
but opening up the show, let's look at our updated Week 5 power rankings, guys. And this segment is brought to you by our friends over at Luxodon. Check them out at shopluxodon.com. At checkout, use promo code DSM for 25% off. Again, that is code DSM, all caps, for 25% off of your entire order at shopluxodon.com. Scotty.
Yes, sir.
A decent amount of differences within these two lists right here. And this list is a little different than we've been accustomed to over the last 2 or 3 weeks or so. So let's have some fun with this, man. And ultimately, you know, it's interesting here, man, because as a fellow Eagles fan, I believe you had the Eagles #1 last week. I forget.
No, I didn't.
No, you did not.
2. I kept those two the same. Yeah.
Okay. So that's where I thought I had you there for a second, because I thought the bird slipped down without taking on a loss. But the top 3 are the same, but in a little bit different order. I have the Eagles, Bills, Chiefs. You have the Bills, Eagles, Chiefs. Obviously, the Chiefs making big noise on Sunday night in Tampa Bay, taking down Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, making their case to be a top team in the league. But before we get into that, I want to look at #4. Right?
Yeah, so that's what I'm noticing.
I said to you last night on the Tuesday edition that the 3 were easy to me. In whatever order you want to shape those 3, those are the 3 best teams right now in the NFL. But once I got the 4, this week more so than the previous weeks, it was extremely difficult to kind of go down the
was.
ladder here. And I'm sorry, maybe this is too overreactionary of me because of a loss and the injury to the quarterback, but your number 4 is out of my top 10. Is that crazy? They were
That's
number
crazy.
2 or 3 on my list last week.
But I can see why you could feel that way. I do see it. You know what I mean? If you want me, I'll explain. I'll explain why Dolphins are number 4. Because they ultimately did lose, and I ultimately did move them up one, but it was kind of out of default by the teams in front of them, just not really impressing me this week. But the Dolphins, Tua is a huge question mark, and it kind of depends on where you look at, kind of how you look at Tua's situation. Like, is he going to come back? Right? Like, that's a huge question mark. And I was impressed with the way that they played the Bengals. I think whenever you lose your quarterback like that, that's going to put your team into shock in a sense. And it kind of just didn't work out for them in the most inspiration or motivational way. But I still like what the Dolphins do. I like their defense, but it is a huge question mark without Tua. I'm not a Teddy Bridgewater guy, so I don't want it to be taken that way. I just didn't feel that I needed to penalize them too much for that Thursday night loss. But I can definitely get the perspective of where if you lose Tua, they're not a top 10 team. And I would agree with that.
Here's the thing. Tua, I don't think the advice of the doctors is not going to play to have any effect here, like telling Tua to walk away from the game.
Yeah.
My rankings aren't stating that Tua will not return to the NFL, but I just feel like this is different than your typical week-to-week concussion protocol type thing here. Yeah. I don't like, maybe I'm wrong. And clearly Miami really probably doesn't give a shit. So you could see Tua out there in 10 days or so, 11 days or so. Right. But this just feels like with the investigation by the NFLPA and the NFL that this is going to have a longer term effect than we would like to admit when it comes to Tua's health here. So I think Miami is in trouble, not just right now, but not just for this week, but in the long term. Now, maybe they'll prove me wrong. Maybe, and I believe they have the Jets this week. So even with Teddy Two Gloves, who I'm not a fan of, Miami could still very well pull out a win this week, and then Tua comes back. So I'm sure they will find their way back into my top 10 at some point or another in a couple weeks here. But I just couldn't, above these teams that are winning or that I view as legit contenders right now in the moment, I couldn't squeeze them in there, right? So you're the Dolphins 4. I have the Baltimore Ravens 4. Now, I know they are coming off of a devastating loss to the Buffalo Bills, who are number 2 on my list, number 1 on your list, and rightfully so. The Baltimore Ravens have trailed for all of 14 seconds in their 2 losses.
It's incredible.
They are 14 seconds away from being 4-0. Lamar Jackson, we're going to get into MVP conversations. Lamar Jackson's at the top, or if not second, on that list right now in terms of MVP. They've had issues defensively. J.K. Dobbins just comes back healthy. So even though the Ravens are coming off of a loss, you had a chance to take down a top 2 team in the league. Most people Super Bowl favorites at the moment in the Buffalo Bills. And you were this close. If Lamar doesn't see, I believe it was Duvernay in the corner. It might have been Rashad Bateman, but I think it was Devin Duvernay in the corner. If he doesn't see him half a second earlier, the Ravens most likely win that ball game. So I'm not going to punish them too much for their loss last week. If anything, I think the way they played that Buffalo Bills team, showing me you can hang around with that team and lead most of the game, I think it makes the Ravens have even a higher argument in terms of this list.
I think that's fair. For me, the Ravens didn't move at all. They stayed at 7. And it was kind of really just the inconsistencies that they have shown this season. The defense one week is giving up, 30 plus points and then 25 plus points to the Pats. And then the next week, the defense looks great against the Bills, holds them to 23, however many points they actually held the offense to. But then the offense kind of chokes and only scores 20 points and turns the ball over in a crucial situation. And also the decision by John Harbaugh. Once again, that's a little questionable as well to go for it on that 4th down. You could have kicked the field goal and took the lead. So it's interesting. I do get where you're coming from because it was still an impressive outing. Just, I guess, not enough for me to move them up over some of the other teams. I had Tampa Bay a little bit higher last week. They dropped down a bit. I know you're not high on the Packers. they still won, and they're finding different ways to win. I won't lie, there are concerns, and after 3, like you said, every single one of these teams on this list, you could possibly argue that I would say aside from the Packers Bucks, I mean my last 3 there, you could argue against all 3 of those. I feel like as far as having all 3 of them removed, like San Francisco, heavy contemplation on putting San Francisco in there, but once again, the inconsistencies, and that's what I was kind of hinting at it, at the beginning of the show. Is it's so hard to measure these teams right now. Like the Rams, 2 out of the 4 weeks have not looked like a top 10 team, but do you doubt their potential that much? And like, I'm giving the Chargers the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving the Rams that too, right? So it's tough. And then for the Vikings, right, they're number 8 for me. For me, it's starting to look like that one loss to the Eagles where they looked like they got skunked is starting to fade away a little bit. And they're 3-1 at this point. They still do have a fairly prolific offense and a decent defense. But once again, you could argue that some of their wins aren't the most impressive aside from Green Bay. So it was tough, man. I will admit that to you.
Yeah, man, let's look at the 8 matchups right here. You have the Vikings, you just spoke on them, and I had the 49ers, and it's for Monday night's performance more so than anything else. And we talked about the inconsistency across the board last night, and it's been a big problem for a lot of these teams, and it's the reason why we have so many issues ranking probably 4 through 10 right now. But the bottom line is, you mentioned potential, right? Like the Rams, do we doubt their potential that much? No, we don't. So we're going to keep them around that 9-10 area for the time being. Yeah. My feelings kind of stay the same there for the 49ers.
Fair.
Not more so than the Rams, but when you watch what they just did to the Rams, dude, they are legit on defense. We knew they were legit on defense. They are legit on defense. Seeing what they were able to do to the Broncos the week prior, seeing what they were able to do to Matt Stafford and the Rams on Monday night, holding them to 3 field goals in the first half, or 2 in the first half, 1 in the second half, or whatever. But they are for real, I think. So my projection of the 49ers, if they stay healthy and Jimmy G just plays like Jimmy G, he's just that game manager. I think I like them more so down the line than the likes of a Minnesota Vikings team overall. But that's just me.
That's fair.
I want to look at my number 6, man. This is the team I told you I had a surprise for you mixed in here, right? And they've won 2 straight now after their extremely slow start. You don't have them on your list. I know you're healing.
They were one of them. They were one of them. I was contemplating.
No, I feel you. They burnt you. They burnt you in the past in weeks 1 and 2. So you had to sit back and you had to give them some time, and it's going to take a little bit of time for you to process that pain, right?
Once I'm back in, I'm back in.
You're fully in.
I mean?
Oh yeah.
Once I'm back, I'm back.
You're a committed man. I got you. My thing with the Bengals is maybe they did just start slow. Maybe the first 2 weeks were Joe Burrow and that offense's preseason, because they didn't play at all in the preseason. Now, look, who have they beaten over the last 2 weeks? They beat the New York Jets, and then they come out and they beat the Miami Dolphins with Tua's injury last Thursday. The bottom line is they were winning while Tua was still on the field. The offense starts to feel like starting to get that rhythm down. Burrow's protecting the ball. The offensive line, he was realistically untouched outside of 1 or 2 snaps last Thursday against Miami's front, who Miami has a pretty good defense. They're running the ball with success, and that Cincinnati's defense starting to feel a little more legit, more so than the first 2 weeks of the season. So to me, I think they found their legs. Joe Burrow, Joe Brees, he told you, man, relax, everybody. And now I think the Bengals are starting to show you more so of their true colors than the first 2 weeks. So I have the Cincinnati Bengals back up in my top 10.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair one. I mean, I'll give you the 3 teams that were right outside that I was heavily considering putting them in anywhere from 8 to 10. And it was the Bengals, the 49ers, and the Dallas Cowboys. And I hate to say that, but you saw some of our other counterparts already have the Cowboys up there. And I get it. You know, they're winning without their starting quarterback. The defense is looking very sturdy. But it's going to take a game like this Sunday for them to really turn the tide for me with Cooper Rush. Some of the competition that they've played, people talk about the Eagles competition, but then, you know, you'll throw the Cowboys up in the top 10. So I'm not hearing that. They beat as you said, a Bengals team that was slow to start. Their offense was not moving the ball well. I don't know if you saw this segment from Mina Kimes and Dan Orlovsky and Marcus Spears.
I have not.
Ryan Clark. They had this like four or 5 minute spiel that they posted on Twitter. They basically broke down what the Bengals have been doing and why they've been more successful kind of in the last 2 weeks. And it's because they're putting Joe Burrow under shotgun a lot more. So the run game's a lot better. And each week they're progressively putting him under shotgun a lot more. And it allows him to get the ball out quicker as well, obviously. And he doesn't have to, he has a lot more options at the line as well when they're doing that. So just kind of, looking at what the Bengals are doing now compared to what they were doing against the Cowboys, even that doesn't weigh in the same. The Bengals were, as you said, having a hangover. So I still have major question marks about Dallas. I feel like they haven't faced a legit offense. And I think they're going to face one on this Sunday, which if they can go out there and do what they've been doing against the Rams, I'll give them a little credit, even with the way the Rams are struggling. I will still give that credit there, but I got to believe it. I got to see it to believe it, as I should say.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. And maybe we're spewing too much haterade right here, but listen, did I think you could stick a fork in Dallas after week 1? Yes, I did.
Absolutely.
With the way their offense looked with Dak and the fact that they had to, try to stay afloat with Cooper Rush. They're not just staying afloat; they're staying in the mix for the NFC East at the moment. Now, how real is that, right? Like you said, their biggest win is week 2 against the Bengals. Cooper Rush's first start this season at home in Dallas, and that was again when the Bengals were playing really putrid football early on. And then you go on and you beat the Giants on Monday Night Football. You beat the Washington Commanders, who, the Eagles beat up on as well. So they haven't had a test. You are going to get a test this week. And that is not to say if they lose, you thought they were. No, it's an LA Rams team who are Super Bowl contenders at home coming off of a loss. But exactly, if that defense gets beat up on, if Cooper Rush and that offense can't, muster together a touchdown drive, right? So, we'll see there. 2 more things about this list. So, you already touched on the Green Bay Packers. You have them 5, I have them 7. Man, Scott, I wish I could put them out of my top 10. Like, if they were 2-2, they would not be in my top 10. The only reason they're still on that list is because they keep squeaking out wins. They are horrifying to watch offensively. Yeah. Horrifying. Dude, you head into last week. Like, last week was the tune-up game. It should have been the game. And I know it's Belichick. I get it. I got it. I don't really care, man. It should have been the tune-up game to change people's minds on this offense and to start to garner trust within this wide receiver group. And you got taken to overtime by the second and third stringers in Lambeau, by the second and third string quarterbacks on that horrible, disgusting New England Patriots offense. Are you joking? Aaron Rodgers and that off. Are you joking? And we mentioned the week prior. Congratulations, you beat the Buccaneers. They didn't have wide receivers 1, 2, 3, or 4, missing 2 offensive linemen, and you scored 14 points. So, they are really hard to watch. Their most impressive performance has been a Sunday night game against the Chicago freaking Bears at home. Like, I wish they had one more loss on their record because they would not be in my top 10. The only reason they are is because they're squeaking out wins.
They are, yeah. That is my main thing, man. And it is crazy, the way you look at it, and I get where you're coming from, but they are just squeaking out wins, right? And they're just finding ways to win the last 3 weeks and beating the Bucs.
Hold on. Yeah.
Hey, they're finding ways to win, and they're struggling.
No.
You said it's ugly football, but they're winning.
No. I love the phrase they're finding ways to win. Finding ways to win does not relate to this ball club. I don't know what phrase describes the way they're winning, what they're doing to win, but it is not finding ways to win. Finding ways to win is I don't know.
They're figuring it out.
I'm looking at it. I'm trying to. Oh my God. I can't, man. I've such disdain for this team, such a dislike for this team because of how ugly they are to watch, man. And I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan. But dude, at some point or another, put it together. Like start to put it together.
They got another test this week, right? They play the good old New York Giants. So there's another one of those.
They'll be 4-1.
Another one of those games
but...
where you could kind of turn it on, right? So we'll see. The Giants are 3-1 as well, not cracking the top 10. So we'll see if they can take down the Packers and maybe they shift up in there, huh?
So I can't, man. I really can't. Looking at 9 and 10 on this list, because we have them the same, we just haven't flip-flopped. I don't even want to talk about why they're 9 and 10. I want to ask you a very simple question. Which LA team are you worried about more?
I would say the Rams. And the reason I say that is because Matthew Stafford is injured. And his type of injury, with it being his elbow, is not something that is just going to go away. And I don't think it's something that's going to just magically get better. I think it's one of those things where you got to protect it and just hope it doesn't get worse. But each and every game, he's kind of looking worse. Now, I know that was San Fran, so maybe that was a mirage.
Their offensive line is beat up too, though, man. It's not making it any easier.
And I will say that's a worry when you go into a game against Dallas. Now, the Rams should win this game. They should figure it out. McVay had a terrible offensive outing on Sunday Night Football, or was that Monday Night Football?
Monday Night
Football, excuse me. He had a terrible offensive outing as far as play calling. They can't get the run game going. So that does worry me, but I will say that 49ers defense will highlight any flaws that you make on offense. It will glorify it. So that could be the case of what's going on with the Rams, at least in that week. But they blew the lead against Atlanta. They kind of almost let the Cardinals come back against them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're struggling defensively. They're struggling offensively. They're worrying me a good bit. Whereas the Chargers, hopefully they just get Keenan Allen back soon, right? Justin Herbert.
But is that it though?
A couple weeks removed from the rib injury. You get Austin Eckler going. I just feel like there's a lot more potential to get better there, but it's hard to say now.
See, I'll take it on the opposite end. You highlighted the quarterback injury, and you're 100% correct. How far down the line does that linger? But you can make the same statement for Herbert and Keenan Allen, and you're without Joey Bosa, and you're without Rashawn Slater, and you're without Jalen Guyton, and J.C. Jackson's nicked up. Like the Chargers have so many long-term injuries this year that it's going to be tough for me in that division for just Justin Herbert to mask and cover up all of those shortcomings and all of those injuries for the Chargers. So yeah. I'm going to say I'm a little bit more worried about the Chargers, but I had high expectations for both. I picked the Chargers to win the AFC West. Obviously, that's high expectations. Actually, in my Super Bowl predictions, I did the Battle of Los Angeles. I went out on a limb and said those two teams will match up together. But ultimately, in the back of my mind, in the back of my heart, I think I always felt that the Rams were closer more so than the Chargers were. The Rams just won one. They're more talented. They're deeper. They're ready to go. They're not deeper. They lack depth, but you get my point.
Yeah, I definitely do. I don't know. It's interesting to think
weird.
About. Competition
weird,
within the division. I mean, San Fran versus Kansas City. So
yeah,
it's an interesting combo. I guess I just have more faith in the fact that Justin Herbert can get healthy versus Matthew Stafford, and that's kind of where I lay. I just worry that elbow injury is going to linger around, and then all of a sudden you're mid-season and his elbow's fully out of whack, and he's playing crazy
flared
football.
Up.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully both get it together because they're exciting ball clubs, and it would be exciting to see them in the playoffs. But I think they're both, they should both feel very threatened by the 49ers and Kansas City respectively because these other teams are looking light years ahead, at least from one game matchup.
100%, man. Both teams
been really inconsistent though. Once again, it's been really inconsistent all around. Those top three teams that we talked about are the only ones that have even been fairly consistent.
Who's been really consistent though? The team with a player of the week every single week so far in the NFL. Shout out Hassan Reddick, NFC Defensive Player of the Week. It has been every week. It is something something to be excited about as an Eagles fan. But
Yes, sir.
speaking about something to be excited about as an Eagles fan, QB1, who had a lot of question marks entering the year, has found himself in the way too early MVP conversation talk right now. And this race right now, 4 weeks in, albeit, is an interesting one to me, Scotty. And I don't know if you share the same 4 names. I feel like these are the same 4 names a lot of people are highlighting, but it's different because like last year you had some skill position players thrown in. The Cooper Kupp had an all-time season.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor had an all-time season. So they were always in the mix. Someone, people would ask, should Aaron Donald be in the conversation? In the last couple of years, it's been what? It's been Rodgers and Brady, Rodgers and Russell Wilson, right? Now you're starting to see the younger quarterbacks, the younger generation of quarterbacks in the NFL start to take over. I have 4 names for you, and I think these are the odds favorites. I think these are everybody's favorites. That is Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts in no particular order. To me, would probably be the 4, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I would agree.
I'm looking at this list, and I went on before the show just so I know, I have everybody's stats. I'm not skewing anything, and I'm trying to figure out where to lean, man, because heading in before my research, I thought I was going to go with the 2 mobile quarterbacks. Well, not that all of them are mobile, but I thought I was going to lean Jalen and Lamar as my 2 front runners.
Yeah.
Not that they're not, but you got Lamar, 65% completion, 893 passing yards, and the most touchdowns thrown out of the 4. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, he's got 316 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns as well, but the lowest completion percentage, the lowest passing yards, and the highest interception rate of the 4 so far in Lamar Jackson. Then you go to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, 4 passing touchdowns. Now, he also has 4 rushing touchdowns, but 4 passing touchdowns, and the lowest QBR of the 4. Yeah. Whereas you get to Josh Allen and you get to Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, 67.3% completion percentage, over 1,200 passing yards, 10 touchdowns to 3 picks, a 101 rating, add on 2 rushing touchdowns, and his team is 3-1 through a very difficult road so far. Patrick Mahomes, 66.4 completion percentage, over 1,100 passing yards, 11 touchdowns to 2 picks, and a 108.4 QBR, and just beat the dog shit out of the best defense on the road in the entire NFL on Sunday Night Football. Scotty, where are you leaning in this race? Because I don't know. I thought Lamar was my favorite. And again, it's a week-to-week thing, but Lamar struggled against the Bills. I thought Jalen would be second. And I need those passing numbers to go up touchdown-wise at least a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what order I have them in. And honestly, when I was looking at the numbers, it kind of made it easy for me. I won't lie to you. Josh Allen's my number 1.
Okay.
He has the passing yards to go with it. He's second in passing yards compared to Mahomes, who's my number 2, 6th in passing yards. He has a higher completion percentage than Mahomes. 1 less touchdown, 1 more interception, but he does have the 2 rushing touchdowns along with 183 rushing yards. With the 3-1 record, those 2 you can argue either or. I would say, but Mahomes and Allen are my top 2 here. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Mahomes 6th in passing yards, 9th in percentage, completion percentage, 1st in touchdowns, tied with Lamar and a couple others. Number 3 and 4 is where I think it gets interesting, and I think the misconception can come in from week 3 to 4, and I think week 4 kind of switched things for me here.
Okay.
And I know Hurts didn't have the greatest game in week 4, right, against the Jags, but I still put Hurts over Lamar in this instance. I just think the numbers all around are better. I get he doesn't have the passing touchdowns, I know, but the yards are significantly better. The completion percentage is better. Obviously, the 4 touchdowns, you do want to see him getting more touchdowns, right?
But only 2 picks.
Only 2 picks. He does get in the end zone with his legs. He has 4 rushing touchdowns, 200 rushing yards. And the 4-0 record, that does play into effect in a sense as well. And that's kind of – so with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, a lot of that as well, I think, comes in with bias. And there's just some people that are not going to vote for Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes.
I agree.
And I think that there's some bias there because – the passing touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, we need more. And I think down the stretch, if you don't get up in the 20s this year, because I think he only had 17 last year. He needs to get up
it's
in
just
the
not
20s.
going to cut it. Yeah,
It's not going to cut it for an MVP caliber season. But so far, 4 weeks in, I kind of like what he's doing a little bit more. Lamar throws an interception in a crucial point in the game. It's all these little things, but that's what it takes to separate these guys, right?
No, listen,
So
I feel you, man. And he's also got the lowest passer rating of the 4 candidates so far. I think us as Eagles fans, we just need to be ecstatic about the fact that he's even on this list right now, that we're even discussing this, because it's something I didn't think we were going to be able to do this season or ever possibly, right? So that's a win in itself, but I do agree. I think those two are now at the bottom. And so my next point, you brought up the 4-0 record. Yeah. Winning is going to correlate to this MVP award. The problem is these teams are all very good. So the Eagles start off 4-0, and you're like, oh, well, Jalen's the quarterback of the only undefeated team. Well, that's great. Josh Allen's 3-1.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is 3-1.
Against really good teams, right? Like the contenders of the league.
Right. So my question is like how much of a factor is that going to play this season in terms of the award, right? Like Lamar came out the first 2-3 weeks and looked like the clear-cut favorite, but he's 2-2. If the Ravens go 10-7, 11-5, but the Bills or the Eagles win 14 games,
right,
and the numbers are even in the same atmosphere, that's going to deduct points off of Lamar's candidacy. Like you have to be, if you are the quarterback, if you are the conductor of that train of a team that goes 14-3 and you have great numbers, and then another quarterback with maybe slightly better numbers is 3 wins below that team, that's probably going to take off points for that second quarterback.
And quite honestly, it kind of factored in just 4 weeks in, right? You look at all 4 of these quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson's 2-2, and it's not.
Well, you can take the head-to-head matchup as well. Allen just beat Lamar on Lamar's turf when Lamar's team had a lead the entire game.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I think I agree with you right now. I would have to go Allen. Mahomes has been otherworldly.
It's really
and
close.
It's something. And again, like you have to with Mahomes, you have to take into account no Tyreek Hill. That was a huge storyline this offseason. They don't seem to be missing a beat right now. Yeah. So if they continue to win games, and he looked like Houdini again the other night, dude. Like he was ridiculous. So he's going to be in that conversation. But these are the 4 guys I have listed. I think they're the first 4 favorites on sports.
Is there any 5? Is there any 5th option that you would even think about? Like they're not in the same realm of this, but who would you put as like a 5th option?
Well, my mind immediately goes quarterback, right? Because this is a predominantly quarterback-driven award. There's really been no skill position player so far to eat. Like there is no Jonathan Taylor through 4 weeks. Cooper Kupp's been good, but it's not Cooper Kupp from last season. There is no Cooper Kupp from last season so far. I don't think so, man. You look at Rodgers, no. You look at Brady, no. You look at Russ, no. Kyler, no. Dak injured. Stafford, no. Burrow and Herbert, no. Right? So I don't think so. Aaron Donald, there's no TJ Watt's out. Garrett was out. Aaron Donald's been limited so far.
There's some people that have tried to throw Mika into that conversation.
Stop. Well, first of all, all right. If you want to throw him in, we'll throw Hassan Reddick in the goddamn conversation. I know. Too. What? Stop, dude. He is spectacular. He is great. He is better than Hassan Reddick. But stop it. Stop. We can compare the numbers right now.
I know. 3.5 sacks to 4 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries for Hassan, none for Mika. I had those ready. So
good.
I just wanted to bring that up. But I agree with you. I don't know. I mean, maybe Cooper Kupp, he's apparently on pace to do what he did last year at this point. But once again, the Rams, 2-2?
It doesn't feel like it, though, right? It does not feel
like it. No, it's not as.
Well, maybe that's why. Maybe the record, they're 2-2. He's not making big enough of an impact to will the team. And I know it's difficult to do as a wide receiver, but still, you're not going to be on that conversation.
Very early, Saquon Barkley.
No, man, no. Saquon's been. Listen, Saquon's
been 3-1. He's first in rushing yards.
Listen, he
I know
is
what you mean,
first.
though.
He is first, but that bar for first is
Yeah.
lowered than other years. Like, he's nowhere near Henry from 2-3 years ago. He's nowhere near
Yeah,
JT
that's
from
fair.
last year. So I'll leave it
I
at
thought
that.
about Nick Chubb as well, but
Yeah,
again,
but you know, you lose to the Falcons last week. Can't really throw you in that conversation
right.
when you cost me money.
But that's what we're doing. We're grasping at straws because it's really
man.
not that close to the top 4, quite honestly.
All right, man. It is 7 p.m. on the dot, so let's get through this Thursday night football conversation.
Yeah, we can do that.
Before we get to some one more quick note. Did you know, fellow Eagles fan, fellow Birds member here, that if the Eagles, I didn't even think about it until Schefter pointed out. It's very simple math, but you don't think about this thing when you're 4-0. If the Eagles were to finish 7-6 the rest of the way, Scotty, they are an 11-win team.
Isn't that great?
Think about it. Think about that.
Yeah.
If they go are they going to finish better than 7-6? They're going.
Sure.
They're going to right. So they could legitimately be 13-4, 14-3, somewhere around there. It's amazing to think about early on. But let's get to this Thursday night football matchup. Broncos, Colts. No Jonathan Taylor. He is already listed as out for the Colts. I believe Shaq Leonard is also out on the Colts defense. Javonte Williams, as we know, suffered a season-ending ACL and LCL tear. He is out for the Broncos. Both of these teams have probably been the two most up and down, inconsistent, underwhelming ball clubs across the entire league. We had high hopes, high praise for both of these squads heading into the year. Colts, we picked to win the AFC South. The Broncos, we thought could at least contend. And obviously their record, they're 2-2. They're in contention. But what does the eye test show you? My God, they are an ugly team to watch. Defensively, they've been spectacular. Defensively, they've been unreal.
That's their calling.
The offense has been the one thing to hold them back. And then reversely, you get to the Colts. You get blanked by the Jags. You tie the Texans, but you beat the Chiefs, but then you come out and lose to Tannehill. The most up and down, inconsistent, underwhelming team is Indianapolis, man. They are, I believe the Broncos are favored at home. I'm leaning Denver in this game. I'll lean Denver at home behind that defense. No Jonathan Taylor. I have no idea what Indy is going to do. If Matt Ryan has to drop back and throw tomorrow night against this team, he's going to turn the ball over multiple times. I don't expect a high-scoring game, but I expect Russell Wilson. They still have Melvin Gordon in the backfield, so it's not like they lose it's not like they lose a ton there from the usage they gave Javonte Williams anyway when he was healthy. So I expect Russell Wilson in this offense to do enough, not a lot, just enough to beat the Colts on Thursday Night Football. Yeah,
I'm with you, and I think the Broncos will kind of take care of business against this Colts team, especially without Jonathan Taylor. Looks like the last time I checked, they were 3-point favorites, but that line may have moved with him officially being declared out. I'm going with the Broncos. Like, I don't see how the Colts score, and quite honestly, Matt Ryan leading the NFL with 9 fumbles so far this season. How do you fumble the ball 9 times within 4 games? I mean, that's incredible. And then he also has 5 interceptions on top of that. So he's turning the ball over like no one else, man. I don't see how the Colts are going to move the ball, but also be safe with the ball. They're going to have him throw the ball a lot, and he's going to have some turnovers mixed in there. Can
you imagine being an Indianapolis Colts fan? I'm serious. Like, you thought you had it bad last year with your quarterback turning the ball over. Scotty, you just read 14 turnovers. Now, he didn't lose all 9 fumbles, but he's put the ball on the ground or had a chance to give the ball 14 times through 4 weeks. That is unbelievable. And now you lose Jonathan Taylor. Defensively, you haven't been healthy. This is your 4th quarterback in 4 years as a Colts fan. My God, man.
Yeah, that's brutal, man. Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz.
And then it's so funny because I saw the passing leaders today, and I think Matt Ryan's like 2nd or 3rd.
He is 2nd.
He has been so unbelievably bad this season. That does not tell the story whatsoever.
Doesn't.
So if you're a Colts fan, I feel bad for you, and I'm going to feel bad for you again tomorrow night because I don't see them winning. At
some point they had Andrew Luck. You know what I mean? Like, they had Andrew Luck. That's their guy.
Right. You have a generational talent have to call it quits early.
That's terrible, man.
Because he got his head put against the turf too many times behind your offensive line. You lose him, and now, like you said, you've been through Jacoby Brissett. You've been through the ghost of Phillip Rivers. Then you went with the Carson Wentz experiment. Now you're with the shell of Matt Ryan. Like, my goodness.
And
But
then,
maybe, just maybe, like you said, that roster is nowhere near good enough. Like we said, maybe something that I said last year to you, they lack talent offensively.
yeah,
Like
literally.
Michael Pittman Jr. is not a wide receiver one. Stop it. He's not. He hasn't been, and he will not be. Mo Alley Cox, whoever else the hell they have offensively besides Jonathan Taylor, who clearly teams are just stacking the box and saying he ain't beating us.
Right.
They don't have enough talent outside. That's the problem.
Yeah. It's as simple
if you
as
went
that.
out and you got a wide receiver one, Michael Pittman Jr. would be one of the best wide receivers twos in the league.
Yeah.
But he is not a franchise wide receiver. He's not a first read option. I'm sorry. I don't view him that way. I know a lot of people do. I know a lot of analysts do. I don't. And show me where it's paying dividends that he's your wide receiver one. If the defense is so spectacular and they have the best running back in football and they have a good offensive line, what is the problem then?
What's going on? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree, man. And then, on the other side, you got Denver. It's like, as long as they don't shoot themselves in the foot as many times as it would take to lose to this team, like,
don't
you
fumble
just hope
2 times
so.
on
Like,
the goal line.
Has Geno Smith, I'm just thinking Geno Smith, Seahawks, and where Russ was before. Is it more impressive that Geno Smith has better numbers than Russ, or more disappointing that Russ has worse numbers than Geno Smith?
No, it's more disappointing. It's so much more disappointing.
It's actually crazy.
And listen, I know it takes time. I get it. We're only 4 weeks in. It's going to take some time, but it shouldn't look this hard. It shouldn't look this ugly. And that's the problem.
Do you got any plays for this game up yet?
I don't
tomorrow,
yet.
But...
But how about this? We can screenshot some and we can put some out and quote tweet the episode tomorrow night before the game gets started.
I do got one for you though.
Yeah, fire away.
I got one for you. It's the Sutton and Russ game. He really likes Cortland Sutton, so I went with that. It's plus 750. It's the Denver win. I got Denver winning money line. Russ 194.5 plus. I think that's
it should be.
I got a Sutton TD. He's a big target in the end zone. Sutton 59.5 plus, and also have a Melvin Gordon TD. I think he gets in the end zone. He's a touchdown hoarder. So have experience with that.
He's
better
like
get
Jamal
one now,
Williams.
right?
He's the Jamal Williams of the Broncos.
He's so
right?
annoying when you have Javonte Williams.
Even with Swift and Javonte healthy, they still get the TDs. Now that without them, they should get all the goal line touches.
They'll get all.
But you know Nathaniel Hackett in Denver, they'll go out and give.
They'll mess it up.
Nah, who's the kid that's been playing? 26. He's been running behind, but
Boone.
Yeah. Come on, what's happening?
When I see him in for Javonte, I'm just like, what? You have Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams.
For no reason.
How does Boone get in the rotation? That doesn't make sense.
Not a blowout, not in any type of situation, just 2nd and 5.
Can't even worry about it now.
Oh my God, yeah.
Can't even worry about it now because Javonte's
but guys,
gone.
That is going to wrap up this Thursday edition of NFL Turf Talk here on DSM Media. Check us out on Twitter at DSM_media on Twitter. Hit that follow button. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Check out the link tree in our bio to take you to every social media platform we are available on. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We are all over the place. We also have a merch site up on TeePublic, so check that out as well. Go and book your appointment at Gents Barber Lounge today at www.gentsbarberlounge.com. Check out our friends at shopluxodon.com. Use promo code DSM. That is promo code all caps DSM for 25% off your entire order at shopluxodon.com. You find my co-host Scotty on Twitter at Scotty Drown. You can check me out at DylanJD98. For myself, for Scotty, for DSM Media. Have a great rest of your night.